Like in the words of Homer Simpson, doom.
Yeah.
Because it really was kind of one of those moments. But I mean, when we really think about what happened here, I mean, she thought that there was a $3 billion check written to Amazon basically for this. We know there isn't. It was an incentive. And when you look at the math, and again, I'm not a math major, but it's $27 billion basically in revenues that were expected to come over a period of time. 25,000 jobs lost, average of 150,000. She calls them scraps, by the way.
They apparently didn't get my memo that I didn't want any video of Colin McShane in the show or Charles Payne or David Asman. That memo didn't get through. But having said that, that was the guy who created, from the Jobs Creators Network, this billboard that's prominently displayed in New York's Times Square, reading 25,000 lost New York City jobs, $4 billion in lost wages, $12 billion in lost economic activity for New York. Thanks for nothing, AOC, obviously referring to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She welcomed that Amazon decided to bolt from the city because it said the $3 billion in tax credits that the company was getting were coming at the detriment of New Yorkers. Not everyone agrees with that, including this next guest, Republican New York City Minority Whip, Joe Borelli. Joe, what do you make of the reaction she had that this was really just paid for by billionaire-funded groups, that the Jobs Creators Network is really just that? You say what?
Neil, I wish the billboard was bigger. I mean, frankly, I'm not concerned with who the job network creators are and who their backers are, anything like that. The problem is that it's 100% accurate, Neil. There are 25,000 potential jobs that New Yorkers will not get. These are real jobs. These are careers. People like AOC, people like other Democratic politicians here in this city have spent hours, weeks, months, years trying to fight for minimum wage increases. This is a company that wanted to come and pay 4, 5, 6 times the minimum wage and really give New Yorkers a path out of poverty. I mean, this is something that it just fundamentally is so sad that someone could wear their naivety on their sleeve and be proud of it at the expense of real New York families.
You know what's interesting about it? I don't think the critics of Amazon ever thought in their wildest dreams that Amazon would just say, oh, the heck with it, we're not going to do it. So I don't think they were planning on that, and now they're trying to cover their heinies to say, all right, well, net, this is going to be better now because the $3 billion earmarked to help the company will actually go back to New Yorkers, when in fact that is not the case here.
Right, and that's part of the problem, is that she poisoned the well for New York residents to give them this idea that this 2.5 at the end of the day, some of that money could be actually be redirected, but $2.5 billion would go to addressing some of the real problems that people of this city face. I mean, it was wrong, it was incorrect, it was inaccurate, and she used that to justify why she was doing what she was doing. There's a real cost to be paid from not having Amazon here, and you're absolutely right. People wanted to see if Amazon would call the bluff, and they did, and they're gone, and now they have to live with that.
Joe, do you ever worry, though, that a lot of conservatives make her such an issue, that is, Congresswoman Cortez, that their anger isn't much different than the left's anger at the president, and that you can be so consumed with anger that you only help the person you're targeting?
Well, I don't think it's about being consumed with anger over AOC. I think it's about addressing the fact that she really is the one driving the message of the Democratic Party. I mean, she came out with the Green New Deal last month, and it was wildly absurd in some of its, fantasy ideas. And yet you saw all the Democratic nominees for president. I mean, people who we probably should be taking more seriously as politicians than AOC, but they all jumped on her lead and followed her in the bandwagon. I mean, this is who the media has chosen, and frankly, she has tried to assume this role. But this is who the Democrats have championing their message and basically establishing what their plan of attack is for the next 2 years.
But, there might be something what you say, because some of those prominent Democrats, including Senator Durbin in Illinois, are stepping back from a lot of her calls and a lot of her more, over-the-top spending plans. So it's as if they've either read polling data or other things that I'm not familiar with and say, we better dial this back. What did you make of that?
Well, sure. I think you saw some of the blowback from being as unrealistic as she was. I mean, someone like Cory Booker, someone like Elizabeth Warren, people who are progressives but have more of a grounding in policy, probably came to the conclusion that this was more fantasy than reality. It read sort of like my son's Christmas wish list, quite frankly. So I'm not surprised that they read the tea leaves and said that this is probably not a good thing. I mean, the same thing happened with Cory Booker now with Amazon, where he has come out and said Amazon would be welcome to come in New Jersey, and he's not wrong, frankly.
Yeah, we'll watch it closely. Joe, always good seeing you, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you.